One-to-one conversations with the UK graffiti writers you need to know. Writers before the fame, where it's all about style, getting up, and authenticity. Molotov Art and Paint Supplies proudly sponsor the Killa Kela Podcast Graffiti Sweet Week Special. 7 writers spread across 3 generations of UK graffiti. Headphones on, speakers up, and get ready for the conversation.
Come on, ma, please.
Syringes, water fight hinges. We love food for just to hit plenty. Oh look, oh no, watch them on them brain out. 30 to follow.
Killa Kela Fortified featuring Patoine. Available on all good music platforms now.
Instagram UK Frontline.
THTC, the UK's leading ethical streetwear label. Organically grown and ethically built garments from hemp, organic cotton and other sustainable materials. 2019 is their 20th anniversary year. Join me with THTC as a Killa Kela podcast sponsor celebrating music, social activism, hemp and street culture. THTC, eco-fashion redefined since 1999. Beatbox created.
Killa Kela.
And we're here to talk about world music and street culture.
Killa Kela Podcast.
Back for the first time.
Yeah, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Killa Kela Podcast, live and direct. Central London, or as central as you need to be. It's the Graffiti Week. It's a special one, you know what I mean? And first of all, I want to thank everybody for tuning in, bunning big zoots and, just enjoying the ride. Subscribe, do not sleep, follow. I repeat, do not sleep on my repeat. And, we're inside the ride. Somebody I've seen for a long time coming in and out of different modes. Graffiti writer, store owner. We will get into the up-to-date some more. This is Dars, Rarekind.
Wicked, man. Safe killer.
What are you saying?
Again, man. It's been fucking years.
Yeah, I know.
Time flies.
Don't it, eh?
Time really fucking flies, man.
What are you thinking of the...
I'm loving it.
Yeah?
It's fucking banging.
Here's my G.
That's got to be out soon, man.
Yeah, it's got to be someone. If you want a Killa Kela beer box, this is not a selling tip neither. I ain't got many, but if you want one, you can have one. Yeah.
Hold on. Really nice.
Thank you very much. Where you travel from? Get here then.
I was in the area where my studio's in Norfolk, so I'm only up the road.
Oh, easy.
But I came in obviously I live on a boat out in Langley. So
Stop.
I get the train.
You're in a boat?
I live on the canal, man. Yeah, I've got a 70-foot narrow boat. Got a nice mooring. It's boom. I live living a nice, comfortable life out there.
Wow, that's cold.
Yeah.
I've got a mate, my boy Guam, big up Guam, does all my live stream and stuff, and sound engineering. He's got a boat, and he raves about it.
I love it, man. I don't know if I could do the constant cruising. The fact I've got a mooring helps a lot. Yeah. But yeah.
Just explain the mooring, what's that?
So I've got my own little bit of land, basically. I rent it, I don't own the land, but I'm on a private strip where there's maybe like 40 of us all lined up, and we've all got our own gardens and our own water connections and electricity points and...
That's bowling.
It's fucking sick, man. I've never had a garden so big, so...
It's amazing.
Yeah.
On the water.
Yeah, on the water. It's a beautiful way of life, man. Changed our lives. Changed me and my girlfriend's life. And
that's beautiful.
Took the foot off the pedal a bit, man. And
that's beautiful. Far cry from your humble beginnings. And...
Yeah, completely. I would have never thought I've ended up on a boat. And, So, boat this morning, obviously. Wake up there, training at Ealing. And then Norfolk studio for a bit.
Easy life.
Got the haircut. As I said.
The barnet cut, yeah.
And then, pop round here.
Down the road. It's Friday. What could be worse, you know?
Mate, I took the day off. I thought, I'll get a couple of emails sent this morning. I was like, I'm going to go and see Kay and enjoy my afternoon.
We've had so many moments of, gonna see you later. Oh, shit.
Actually.
Yeah.
Actually. Okay. Sorry, bro. Because Kay's going to come round to mine. Mm-hmm. I do a podcast called F24.
Oh, yeah, we're going to get into this.
We're going to get into that. So, but look, pleasure to be here. I'm glad we got here at last.
Thank you, brother. Yeah. Pleasure, man. For those of you that don't know and are really late to the party, it's the Graffiti Sweet Week, right? And I've had some awesome acts. But one thing that I really wanted to highlight was the scene as a whole and what you do bring as a podcast in a very similar street culture way.
Yeah.
You give an emotive to what to everyday circumstances, and you really put it on the spotlight, don't you?
I'm really about I love therapy. Therapy changed my life. My girlfriend became a therapist after we both went through therapy. She's just qualified to be a psychotherapist, which is amazing. And so it's a big part of my life, therapy, and talking about it sounds silly, but it doesn't sound silly, but talking about feelings and talking about behaviours and talking about traumas are all relevant to me, and I think we need to open up about it. And I like my conversations I have with people, my podcast, is really just like finding those things that what we presume is therapy. We get into things for certain reasons, and I think culture, the cultures and subcultures we get into because of therapy, as a therapy. We don't realise it at 12, 13, 14, but we would have seen, experienced and behaved in certain ways. We find this thing, 16 even, and all of a sudden your life changes and you can't put your finger on it.
Yeah.
But 30 years plus, you're like, oh, you know what, if I hadn't have done that,
now I kind of get why it was.
and that helped me, and I've realised as a man, as a grown man and a grown woman, I can now, if I still partake or still do that thing I really loved, it's like therapy. Yeah. And so it's those conversations, and then trying to find the crux of and the turning points for people, and why did you stick with it, and what made you, when you became an adult, what made you turn away from society? Not society as such, but we're told a certain route, you know what I mean? Get your grades, go and get more grades, go and get a job, go and get a mortgage, married, wife and kids.
By the time you get to your 30s, you almost like your pride takes over and you've got to keep quiet because you're a man. You know?
No, there's no more feeling.
Right.
You've just got to do. And
yeah,
I think
right.
what we get to do, being part of a subculture, and the lucky ones that have managed to, I'm turning 40 next year, to still be part of it and to actually make a living from it through being an artist, is... that's a story there, man, and I want to know people's versions of it. Yeah, and I think it's important because it just keeps us sane. It worries me, man, about the way people have to work nowadays. I hate the education system and the fact it's built for people just to pay tax. There's no other...
That's the only reason
That's
why...
the only reason the education system's there is because they want us to pay tax. There's no, like, pushing and helping and, nurturing these kids.
That's all.
And that's the shit, really. So to me, subculture rules the world, art rules the world. It's never lost a battle, and I just...
Wiley said something in an interview, and I'm sure you may have heard it at some point. It was about 4 months ago. He said something along the lines of, "Man, if like only the schools would teach you, top tier, like how to use money.
Oh, mate,
how to use money.
This is the thing.
Save lives,
I love
man.
teachers. Teachers are the best people in the world. I think an amazing thing to become a teacher. And I'm not talking at teachers at all. I'm talking about the system.
Yeah.
And these teachers, these people who are fully able, and I've got mates of mine who are teachers who would love to be able to teach kids how to deal with life. Brilliant. History is brilliant. English lit is brilliant.
Yeah.
But half of these kids, some of these kids, they're coming from the States. They need to know how to deal with their first paycheck. English lit isn't going to do much for them. They can't afford to go to uni.
Wholeheartedly agree.
Take your foot off at 13. Teach them something else. Get them to read and write and learn how to add maths and all that type of shit, of course. But I saw it with my son. My son left college, and the way the teachers at the end spoke to him in the final meeting that I was there, just about, you're not going to be able to do this, Josh. And I said, no, excuse me. Yeah. Let's be proud that he's made a decision of his own back, and he's decided he wants to leave this and do something else. So let's be proud of him and praise him for that. Let's not tell him he failed because of this.
Because they want to get their books, the money from their books back and all that. Is that part of it? I think
there's, in my eyes, it's not, as I say, it's not the teachers, it's not the head teachers, it's the system.
Yeah.
It's people like Gove. It's and what he did to the education system when he was empowered of that board. They're building these kids just to go off and make tax money. And that's it. They just want them to pay tax. And it just upsets me, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
I left school early, so...
Me too. Me too. Yeah. And not that I had any clue whatsoever what I wanted to pursue. I just knew that in my own naive competency, that if you gave me a 10 grand advance... I'm fucking gone. I'm like, there ain't going to be no education with that. Yeah. I'm going to be debted till now. Yeah. You're not having it. No, I couldn't do it to myself, dude.
No. It's crazy. It's a crazy thing. But, it's how society seems to run, and it's why I love culture and subculture, because if I just had to rely on my education and a bit of paper that stated David got this, David got that, David got the other,
fuck that.
I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you about 20 years of history. I'd be working somewhere, working my arse off, paying a mortgage, or not, paying rent, just upset and depressed. Whereas what I've done is not get an education. I've loved my subculture. I've worked hard. I've got an amazing relationship with my girlfriend. My son's great. He's doing perfect. And I live on a boat. And it's like, that's what I've got.
Jobs are good. Yeah. With the dogs as well.
Yeah, with the dogs. So, yeah.
And like you say, there is a journey that's in that can be cumbersome at times as you're growing up. Obviously, your podcast reflects that and whatnot. The mistake that people often make is trying to not make mistakes.
Yeah.
That shit just happens, you know.
Mate, love a mistake, man.
Yeah.
Fall in love with mistakes and love fear.
Yeah,
and
for
just
real.
use them. Use them. Don't use them in the negative context. I failed. No, you didn't fail. You learnt a lesson.
Yeah.
Like, and fuck a mistake. It doesn't matter, man. Like, my mum told me as I was growing up, she goes, I watch you and I see you. It's like you run through flames and get burnt every time before you learn your lesson. And, you know, she criticised me for that whilst growing up because she was a scared parent. I'm so fucking glad I burnt myself that many times. I learnt so much as a child and a teenager.
Yeah.
And, we've got, and of course, I'm sitting here like this is how I behave all the time and I'm really bright. And of course I'm not. I get depressed. I'm on anti-anxiety tablets. Like,
we have these things. For real.
That's all real. But I like to think, no, if I'm getting scared, if I'm worried about a situation, I'm going to flip it. I'm going to use that fear. I'm going to because it's energy. You can turn it round and make that energy do something else for you. And that's what I try to do with fear and failure and mistakes. It's just like, use it. Don't be upset.
That's
don't be
fire.
shy. Don't break yourself down by it. Just use it.
Yeah.
Use it and learn from it.
Take it as an energy.
Always.
Yeah, for real.
But as I say, it's not like I live my life that way. I wish I was like that all the time. I'm not. I'm human. I'm like the rest of us. I wake up some mornings, I'm like, fuck it all. I fucked up yesterday and now I'm fucked. That happens. That's reality. And I don't mind sitting in my sorrow for a bit. I do try and turn that energy around, though.
Yeah, I think with a lot of things, there's positive crutches and there's negative crutches. What podcast is enabling people to do is like have a conversation, have a conversation where there never was a conversation, like graffiti itself.
Yeah.
Talking about Graff, it's like that's a conversation that just feels like so like it's almost been waiting to happen.
Well, I think we all know we've had interviews over all these years. I've read interviews since I got into Graff. Haven't heard many. I've seen the odd video. Obviously, there's been loads of videos. But I think what we've got now, and this coming of age type of thing, 30 years of this culture in our country, we've got 50-year-old writers, 55-year-old writers. It's time to talk.
For real.
And I love the chase stories. I love the best Graff stories. I love the fucking all the stories that happen and make up graffiti. I love all that. But I also love. I'd like to know that there's a Daz and there's a David, and how have these two survived through this culture for 20 years? I'm not talking about myself generally. I'm just talking about in general. That I think it's amazing that we've managed to stick with this. As I say, I was in Dublin for 2 weeks on a massive project. I interviewed two kings, Rask and Moves. Rask's from Dublin, Moves is from Belfast. 25 years as friends. One's Catholic, one's Protestant. And graffiti and their environment graffiti took over their environment. Their friendship took over everything they grew up with and all their preconceptions of what it's like north and south of the border. And culture did that for them. And they're 50 now. They're coming up to 50 and they're best fucking mates, still painting all the time.
That's such a beautiful story.
Amazing. And nothing else could have done it apart from culture.
Do you think like there's an argument that, you know, with age comes, you know, okay, you kind of... nostalgia comes into play a little bit, and then you realise, hey, you know what, life's a bit too short for this. So any kind of, I mean, like the political situation in Ireland, particularly at that time, is a whole different beast.
Completely.
But these guys are boys.
Yeah.
And I think with a lot of people that may have had animosity back in the day, like now it's like, actually, you know what?
They've got context.
Yeah, there's context.
There's context and nuance. And, you know, Rask said he turned up at Move's house in Belfast. Move's obviously given him the Union Jack mug. He's given that to Rask, the Dubliner. Do you know what I mean? Just to wind him up, just to piss him off. You're my man now, bruv. Here's your cup of tea. And when Moves is down at Rask's, Rask gives him the fucking the Celtic mug or the Irish flag mug.
That's so endearing.
And it's just a little nudge at each other. You know, there's reality going on out there. Yeah, our religions or our so-called way, you know, the things we're brought into have got an issue, and I'm going to dig you for it. But we love art, and that will transcend it. And
that's so sick.
the conversation, it comes out tonight, and it's brilliant conversation, man. And all of the conversations. Well, I love your podcast as well. I literally love podcasts. I've been on them for like 8 years. I've been listening to so many. I'm so addicted to them because the fact that anyone is getting a chance to talk helps everyone else resonate.
For the better.
That's it. Yeah. Whoever listens can resonate to something, and we don't get enough of that. And especially with this fake world we live in with our phones and Instagram and Twitter and this story we like to tell. Yeah. These podcasts are telling true stories, and I love that, man, because they're normal. You can't. It's hard to look at a photo of one of your heroes and it's just all gleaming and stars and beautiful and amazing and 10,000 likes and you can aspire.
You get anxiety.
But you get anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. These conversations, it's like, oh, fuck, that's Zombie, man. Shit, fuck, he's been my hero for 30 fucking years. Fuck. Oh, shit, and he's talking like a normal human being.
I know, it's mad.
And I feel better now.
Yeah.
Like,
and those pixelations are real.
Yeah, of course. It's right to push people up on a pedestal. I believe people who work hard within their culture should be pushed up and called kings. And I'm well happy to call the kings kings, definitely. But I love the fact as well that these conversations, and why podcasting is great, is that it just normalises things. It helps people understand and resonate and just get it. The response I get from my podcast, the emails I get, it's just, you know, one guy talked about the SEPA episode and he's like, fuck, man, you just told my whole life. That was absolutely amazing. Thank you. Yeah. Whatever that did for him, it made him realise, I can continue.
In fact, he even wrote it. Like,
I even wrote it.
Yeah, it
not
touches
just
me.
thought
That,
it.
Yeah, for real. It touches me that like the feedback I get from the podcast as well. It's like, I'm like, man, you guys took the time to write that. That's fucking
Well,
sick.
this is the thing. People are stepping even further because, you know, there's that one person who'll write something, but there's another 20 others who felt exactly the same. Yeah. I love those one people. I love all of them, but for one person to write back and give you that feedback. I wonder what the ratio is for like one person that writes it. I wonder how many. Mate, I promise you, because I don't write on the internet. I can't. There's something about social media that I'm not great with, and I don't like what it does to me, and also don't like what it does to the population. So I don't comment and write, and I very rarely like, because I don't like the interaction. I do use it. I put my pieces up, and I put my podcast up, and I put up a couple of photos, but I don't interact on it. So if I'm one of those people, I've just listened to your podcast with 5,000 other people, and 10 of them write to you, I'm in the other percentage that loved it, understood it, it resonated, but I can't. I'd rather write you a personal message.
I feel that.
Do you know what I mean? I'd rather go direct to you or call you or whatever like that. The social media interaction thing freaks me out.
I don't think you're the only one.
No.
I think as an establishment, the internet doesn't... I don't think it sits well with graffiti artists or graffiti followers. I don't think it's the one.
Man, I worry about some writers on Instagram, man. I don't understand why we're giving away so much of our artwork online. We're just giving it to Zuckerberg. And then a lot of people as well are putting up... Graffiti's an illegal act. Like, a lot of graffiti is an illegal... I don't paint illegal anymore. So any photo I put up, no one can ever come back at me on it.
Yeah.
I worry about what this fucking social media shit's doing to us, man. Basically, I'm worried about. It's so fucking new. Heard something interesting this morning. Do you think in 20, 30 years' time we're going to look back at us giving our kids phones and iPads and this, that, and us being affected so much by social media? Are we going to look at it like cigarettes?
True,
what we're doing is giving these people these addictive things, these things that are really fucking with their heads, like that are messing about with depression and anxiety and a million other like chemical imbalances in us. And it's going to be a very interesting time, I think, in the future, looking back and seeing how this affects the world and what it does to people.
It's pretty mad, isn't it?
Well, we're in the middle of it.
Like
so
Red Bull.
We've got to balance it. We've got to figure it out. We've got to decide how far we want to go with it and how much news you want to tell. And, you know, why does everyone need to know your story all the time?
Yeah.
So what is that? And what is it psychologically? And what does that do to the planet psychologically? And that's what I think about.
100%. 100%. We are prototypes. We're prototypes at this point in time.
Yeah, we're prototypes. It's the same as the first people that got the first branded cigarettes.
Yeah.
They were prototypes. Yeah. You know? And it ended up, we realised, 70 years later, that these things are killing thousands of people every day.
Oh, but we didn't know. We were just trying this out to see how kind of conversation.
Well, we were told as well, you inhale, the more you inhale, the more you calm down. And that's what they thought was good with the cigarette. Is that you've been inhaling, it's nicotine that's going to calm you down. It's all a complete lie. I love nicotine. I'm just fucking smoking this bullshit because I've got on cigarettes. I'm still addicted to nicotine. I can't believe it.
You always smoked?
I've smoked since a young age, yeah. And I've only been off tobacco for maybe 4 years now. I smoke my weed pure, but I still need... weak part of me still needs nicotine. I haven't been able to combat that yet.
I always remember just when you was younger, like... I always saw you as like a Brighton guy.
I mean, fucking pens.
It gets you eventually.
Eventually, man.
Just say
Don't
no,
even
kids.
Start. I moved to Brighton when I just turned 20. So I grew up in Kilburn, northwest London, just down the road.
Oh, just down the road.
Literally.
Wicked.
I'm from the estates over there. My mum's still on the estate. And I grew up there. Had a bit of a crazy 98 and 99. And at the end of 99, I broke up with my girlfriend. I was like, my mate G was down there. I was like, G, I'm coming. Went down there, shared a room that was like 4 foot. It was like a cell, basically. I shared the room with him until a room came available in the house. And
wow.
yeah, and then 9 months later, my son was born because that was all happening at the same time. I didn't realise. Yeah, but I stayed in Brighton. I was just like, I'd moved to Brighton to get away from London, and my best mate was down there, my writing partner, Hot One, and he was down there doing uni. So I go down there, and then when Josh's mum came down and told me 2 weeks later, look, I'm having your kid. I don't know what to do now, to come back to Kilburn and be at my mum's again and figure out how to be a dad, or do I stay in Brighton and try and do something there? It was all too early to understand, but I stayed. And I stayed there for 10 years and had an amazing time. And I brought my son up at the same time. I didn't not bring up my son.
That's crazy.
I picked him up every 2 weeks and brought him to Brighton, and he stayed with me every other weekend for years.
Yeah.
He's now 18, so...
I mean, this is another thing as well. We didn't share the same girlfriend, but we had the same girlfriend.
We had. The way that was phrased. Before I had the shop, it was quite weird. We obviously crossed paths in some way.
Yeah, exactly.
Big up Laura.
Yeah. Lara, that's
Lara.
Lara. Big up Lara. That's the one. Yeah. Exes are exes for a reason.
yeah.
But yeah, she's lovely.
But that was just before I opened the shop. But I must have been bubbling about in some way. I know I didn't have any money. Yeah. I remember not having money when I was going up there, but it was before the shop. But I must have been bubbling about in some way because I knew your name really well. And I must have been involved in something in Brighton.
Yeah.
I'd been selling paint out of my flat since 01. I was collecting paint from Steve's in London and bringing it to Brighton. So I was selling paint out of my flat in 01, along with loads of weed. And then February 03, I opened my shop. So there must have been something over that year and a half where I was involved in the scene or getting involved in the scene, putting on shows, meeting people. And that's why I knew your name. When she said, oh, by the way, my ex is Killa Kela, I'm like, oh, shit. Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, she's lovely. The one is, when I think of you, the era that springs to mind is Steez, Knees, Hawks.
Yeah, man, with Brighton King for a long time. Yeah, South Coast King even.
Yeah, for real. These guys... They were kind of around the same time as RT and ATG.
Yeah, so that came a little bit later.
A little bit later, wasn't it?
Yeah, so what... I started writing in 95. I did my first piece in January 95, obviously whilst I was in London. I painted here for 5 years and I moved to Brighton at age 20. And that year... So Steez started bombing the insides again in like 98, 99 in London. Knees had been about since about 97. But Steez was east... Knees was south.
I was trying to work out what crew Knees was from.
Knees was on DPM crew. He went through the biggest case.
I remember.
True king, that guy, an absolute fucking gent of a person. As well as Steez. I call Steez Saint Steez. He's London's Saint of Graffiti, that guy.
What we were only talking about him the other day.
What he did for the scene single-handedly in 2000 and 2001, it changed the direction of where the London graffiti scene was going.
Elaborate.
I don't know what made him do it, but he started to go abroad and bring spray paint back by the trolley load, by carrying it back through wheelie bags and shit to a lock-up in Dalston. He'd sell it out of his lock-up in Dalston to writers. We couldn't get any branded paint in this country.
What?
4-Star General in Camden, remember 4-Star? He would get... he got the first Beltons, I think, or Montana's 94s, but they weren't 94s then.
That was a G-shop as well.
That was an amazing shop. Yeah. He sold my first T-shirts, actually, that I did whilst living here. But, so he was selling paint out of that shop. But I can't remember what happened. But either way, Steez, and by doing what he was doing... Basically, I remember getting a call saying, look, this guy's in town, he's selling paint. And I went and met him. And no, you call him, you make an order. I remember it was Christmas... Must have been Christmas 2000.
Yeah.
No, it was 01. I'd already met him. It was Christmas 01. And I'd already been buying bits and pieces of paint off him. And... I called him up and said, I need 24 chromes, 24 blacks, and 4 cans of white for my Christmas mission. He was like, all right, cool, meet me, blah, blah, blah. And I get to this spot, it was McDonald's, just at Tottenham Court Road, Oxford Circus, on that corner.
Yeah.
I go down into the basement, and there's literally like 30 writers in there, all waiting for Steez. And I was like, this man is a god. And I'd been already working with him for like 6 months, but I didn't because I'm in Brighton, and I'd just come up to East, meet him in the day, grab a load of paint and go back. This was the time where I was coming to London to stay for the week because it was Christmas, see my mum, see my son, paint. I walk into, and this is like, I'm like, the fuck, is this what happens? He's like, this happens all the time. And so he would just meet writers in town, walk along with trolleys full of paint, and everyone would be like, yeah, cool, I ordered this.
Having
on
a
the
laugh.
road selling paint.
That
and he
is
would do it all
so
city.
G.
I remember meeting him one night I was like, I'm going to be in blah, blah, blah at this time. He's like, I'll meet you there. He lived in East London. He come all the way over to Northwest, meets me, sets me my paint, and I go off and do my mission. What he did for London scene, the energy he put in, and also his own graffiti work, not just selling paint. Him on the insides, him on the trains, him doing tracksides. Like his motivation, whatever motivated him, spread through the culture.
That is mad. I would never know that story.
Seriously, McDonald's. It must have been Christmas 01, and I literally walked down there thinking, oh, me and Thingy will have to, we'll have a burger and I'll catch up with him. And I was looking forward to catching up with my pal. I couldn't. There was like 30 other writers there, all waiting for paint. I'm like, the fuck is this? Is amazing.
They got tickets waiting for the number.
Seriously,
to come
it was like that. And he turned up and I was like, yes. That guy single-handedly changed the scene, and I wonder what it'd be like if it wasn't for that guy. To be honest, I wouldn't have had my shop. I opened what I thought was the first shop in the country, the first graph shop in the country.
Rarekind
was the first shop.
yeah.
But the bench had opened up the previous year up north, which I didn't know. So big up to that guy, Skank. Big him up, because I didn't know. I don't even know if many people know. He actually opened the first
big up
graph shop.
Skank inside.
But at the time, I thought it was me. And anyways, I wouldn't have been able to do that, because that came off the back of me selling paint out of my flat, if Steez hadn't done his thing. I wasn't minded to go over. I went down with him once to pick up paint, but I wasn't that way inclined.
Entrepreneurial.
Super. But it was his community spirit as well, though, was the other thing. I'm an entrepreneur. His community spirit blows out the water. Like, he's an entrepreneur, yes, but he's all about the people. I am about people as well, but he is the saint. I promise you. Saint Steez, forever.
Saint Steez.
I'll love that man forever. He I don't know, I think he knows what he done for me, but...
And everyone else, by the sounds of it.
We wouldn't have HQs, we wouldn't have Chrome and Black,
Yeah.
We wouldn't have had everything else that spawned off in the last 10, 15 years. If he hadn't done his thing, I'm sure someone would have filled the place, but he did it.
Yeah. He was precursor to the shops.
Oh, yeah, well, he was on the road selling paint. That was it. There was no shop.
What year was that then?
So that was I met him in 2000, so 01 Christmas was when that happened. So yeah, 01 I think it was between 2000 and 02, it was all on the roads. And then I opened my shop in February 3, and I think him and Sham opened.
There you go.
In
HQ.
maybe that summer.
Yeah.
6 months later.
That place was sick as well. I loved
HQ's
that
was the
place.
fucking...
It was right inside there.
Right inside Brixton Market.
Yeah.
When it was Brixton Market. It was an unbelievable cultural hotspot.
Bro, I remember beatboxing in there. We got a sound system in there and everything.
Mate.
Martin Russian, producer of the Human League.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah,
you
yeah,
want
yeah.
me, baby? His mate of mine, I called him up. I was like, dude, can't boy your sound system. He goes, what for? And I said, I'm going to do some beatboxing in his graffiti store in Brixton. He only fucking comes down himself, sets up the gear. And
Oh
fucking
my
going,
god,
yeah,
that
man.
spot was fucking amazing, man. That was amazing. I loved what they did there and what it did for the city. Absolutely amazing. And then I loved the legacy that happened afterwards. I loved what happened after all of that and how it all moved on.
Yeah, man. Yeah, big up Shan, man.
But
for real.
back to your thing about Brighton.
Yeah.
Brighton made me. I couldn't have done half the shit. I wouldn't have done half the shit if I hadn't gone to Brighton. So big up Gareth for giving me space in his bedroom. And
Yeah. It's one of those ones, isn't it? You know in your heart there's got to be a change. You got to do something. You just got to jump in the deep end somewhere, innit? And
I was in a lot of trouble, man. It was 99 was quite a dangerous year for me. And I'd been a dickhead before writing. I'd been a big dickhead. I thought I was someone else before I was a writer.
what more kind of
I was
extracurricular?
into crime, yeah. And I ran with some mad people, and big up to those people. You know, whatever happened with us. But there was a few big things that happened that made it not that safe out there for me. And so when I got the chance to I love Josh's mum with all my heart through 99. I wouldn't leave. When we broke up, I was just like, there was nothing left.
John's your son?
Josh, your
son.
I was just like, look, get the fuck out, go. And thank God I did, because I wouldn't have opened a shop in London. I wouldn't have been that way inclined. I wouldn't have even been... Brighton, as you know, it just gives you space. It gave me mind space. It gave me head space. And I remember my mum tells me that one night I called her. I was just like... And Josh was... I don't know... He was about to come in like 3 months' time or something. He's going to turn up. And I called her and I'm like, Mum, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing down here. And she's like, just hold on. You'll figure it out.
Figure it out.
Yeah. And then the first canvas I painted was of Josh when he was 1. And when I painted that canvas, all my friends were like, D, that's you. What you doing?
So you weren't writing before then?
I was writing from 95, but I'd only painted trains, painted tracksides. It was all ego. My whole graffiti career is all about my ego. It wasn't really about the piece. It was about ego. Ego. Get to know me. This is me. And then when Josh was born in September 2000, the following year I painted this canvas of him. It's my first painting on a canvas for his mum. And all my mates were like, the fuck, D? Why are you not doing that to make money? One thing led to the next. And
I think a lot of people go through... There's obviously like a sweet spot in your head when you go through something and like you say, it's all about you, it's all about your thing, it's all about... And now that drive and tenacity and all that. And then all of a sudden, if it's not something more like you get charged or caught, you know... Graffiti being the example here, something significant in your life happens, which not just kind of puts things in perspective, it humbles you.